Welcome, everyone. See if I bring people into the meeting. Welcome, everybody. We're excited to have you in our webinar today for our release of our data capture for shop floor labor and machine time. We'll give people a couple seconds to join here. If you have any questions, we will be taking questions at the end. Please feel free to put them in the questions and answer or the chat. Brennan will be relaying those and answering those as possible. But yes, let's give a couple more seconds. I will shut off my camera in a minute here, but I wanted to say hello to you guys that came in. Appreciate you taking a look at what we have for SAP Business One today. Excited to go through this with you together. All right. A couple more people still coming in here. Just want to say hello to those arriving. 20 people already. Great. Looking good to see some of the familiar faces. Hopefully we show you something today that's of interest, both partners and customers and prospects. And we'll get going here. I'll shut off my camera. I'm Aaron Armendariz. I'm the sales director here at Wisys. Excited to show you some new with our webinar today on labor reporting and collection. So let's get started. So obviously most of you came here understanding that we're going to talk labor reporting, which is a new product for Wisys. We've always been issuing materials and doing the inventory movement of production. Now we've added the ability to record shop floor labor, machine time, as well as materials in SAP Business One in real time. And we're going to demonstrate two aspects of Wisys, our handheld connectivity, as well as our desktop application for reporting. And then I'll show that integrated into SAP Business One in real time. So obviously we come here for a couple of reasons, and here are some of the reasons why labor reporting is important, right? Obviously, we want to add more value and features to Wisys for our manufacturers out there. Really what we wanted to do is provide more value to our product if you are a customer and or partner, to give to your customers, as well as a product that has been long requested from our partners to deliver with Wisys and SAP Business One, because there is a gap in some of the manufacturing process that SAP offers, as well as, going to some of the very advanced manufacturing solutions that are, quite expensive and quite an investment to get into. So we're offering you Wisys labor reporting within our solution today. And again, like I was saying before, we are going to be working on our handheld device, mobile applications, barcode driven, so we can validate the entry of labor reporting. And then we're going to have live dashboards, something that's newer with Wisys and the desktop application for labor specifically is having process grids and view grids to be able to manage everything that's happening in SAP as well as on the shop floor. So again, all of this is in real time. So we're going to go through actually clocking in jobs. We're going to scan employees, we'll scan the order, we'll scan the stage and add the labor and resources that are integrated into SAP B1 today, and we're going to report on that. So we'll go through that today as well. Correct it and or manually input information, time recordings, and then we're going to be able to post that into SAP Business One. This is where we can actually manually report hours as well. So not only doing this on the handheld device in real time, we can have someone managing the hours from an administrative standpoint as well. And then obviously we're going to reconcile all of this and then visually see it in SAP Business One. All right, so let's start getting into it. Again, any questions, please put them in the chat. And Brennan, if you have anything relevant, please bring it up. But I want to show you a standard production order that I've created. Today's production order, finished good that we're going to produce, is a s'more. Now, you know s'more very easily. There's a few components there, chocolate, marshmallow, and graham crackers. But we wanted to add route stages, resources to those so we can actually complete the process of making a s'more. So picture yourself sitting in front of a fire, assembling s'mores, putting them together, making them, roasting them, and then checking them, making sure they're okay before you eat them, and obviously completing that production order. So just a few things here. You'll see the chocolate, marshmallows, and graham crackers, the resources of prepping, roasting, assembly, and quality control. And we're going to make 100 of these s'mores today. And I have a production order of 315. Now, again, I'm going to refer to our Ability Explorer desktop. Some of the things that you may not be familiar with is the grids that we have in association with production. And we're going to look through those. So in Wisys, in our Agility desktop, we have the ability to create a production calendar. So this calendar, standard default out of the box, shows the production orders that I have in the system today and the dates in which they are required to be made. Start dates, and then all the resources associated. So I can highlight these. So one little fun feature is the production calendar. I can even look at my production orders in the system at a whole without being in SAP, without drilling through many different levels of the yellow arrows. I can see the active production orders that I have in my system. I can even see open, closed. You know, I could look at closed. I can filter all of these out, but you know, planned. So I do have some planned orders. I have some released orders, which is the ones we're going to work on today. And I could see that, and I can even drill directly into SAP Business One from our grid here. And I do have alerts set up, things that are past due dates. I have a red alert. And I do have things that are relevant to this grid. I do have some production time tracking, which is I'm going to show you in real time, as well as a reconciliation of all these things. So we're going to take it through step by step, but I wanted to let you know that we are going to be using the Wisys grid solution on Agility Desktop to manage everything that we're doing on the floor. So let's go to our handheld device today. Minimize this, and we'll bring up our handheld. Now, I have a production order. Now, I'm not going to go through the traditional issuing of goods, receiving goods. We're going to do some of that, but I'm not going to go through the individual forms which we have that include production, like pick to production, pick to bin. We're going to have that all set up and ready to go today, right? So the first thing I do as an employee is I want to track my time on these jobs and start the production order. So as a traditional form, this could be run on a handheld device, maybe a tablet, all Android driven, connected directly to SAP Business One. And I do have a list of employees that I could look up here and have in my system, right, to work on the job. I'm going to use a badge to scan. So I have a scannable badge, and I'm going to scan my employee number. And I'm going to scan the production order that I'm working on. And I'm working on s'mores today. And I'm going to identify the stage that I'm working in, which is the clean and prep area. Now, I could have multiple workers working on different jobs, different areas. I'm going to stick to my name today, one person to start the job, right? I'm going to click Start Job here, right? In that initial process in SAP Business One, my first route stage is to prep my area. So it's going to utilize, with that route stage, it's going to utilize the resources required for prep. If I go back to the handheld, now I have a running clock time that I see here. I can even refer to Agility Explorer here and track my time, if I were to refresh this in real time, I can look at my order 315, drill into that, and see that I have job functions started. Now, I do have the availability to manually change the start time. So if I wanted to manually change this, maybe we started earlier than the person clocked in, or they didn't clock in right on time, or we want to adjust that, we can adjust the start time there. This is a process grid in this case. And I just wanted to show you the visibility in real time that I can see the job function that employee 10 is doing currently. They are working in department 1, which is the prep station. Now I am going to issue goods for this process so we can continue through the first phase. So I'm going to go back to order 315, I'm sorry. 315, and usually I would scan this. And I'm going to select the s'mores again. And I could actually stop the job here from running. So I've cleaned and prepped the table, and I'm going to stop that job. Now I'm going to go back and do a production issue. So I'm going to take this order 315, and I'm going to scan the items that I'm going to issue. So I'm going to scan the bin, the item, the bin, the batch, and the quantity of 100. And I'm going to do that with all the items here. Now, it is printing out labels. It doesn't need to print out labels. You can print labels for a validation check. Like some people like to put the label on their work order so that they know they've issued this, but it doesn't need to be printed. It just prints default in my system today. Let's do the second item here. Chocolate. Select chocolate. We're going to select the bin and the batch, because this is a batch tracked, batch driven item, right? All of our items are batch tracked because they're food items, and we're going to issue 100 there. Again, printed label. Last but not least, our marshmallows that we're going to scan, and we're going to issue those goods from the production bin, batch, as well as a quantity of 100. And get the label there. So I've issued the goods. Now let's look at SAP Business One for this production order here. And you'll see if I were to refresh it, those items have been issued in real time to this production order. Okay. Let's minimize this. Now I have more responsibilities to do in my time tracking, which I'm going to do now, the second stage. And scan my badge, scan the order, and we're going to select the s'mores again. And the stage ID that we're working on, I can look it up or type it in, but we're going to fire and burn materials. And we're going to start this job. I can pause the job in the middle, say I need to take a bio break or go to lunch or do something else. I can pause the job and restart it. Now, my time values will matter. So the longer we let this run, the more time that we will be consuming in our production order. But you'll see here that first job, the first stage that I committed to, use this amount of hours, a couple minutes there, probably 2 minutes, right? 2 minutes of time. And it's going to calculate that in clock hours and elapsed time. And it's going to show me my labor's hours, my percentage hours worked. I've set each one of my employees to an 8-hour shift, and they will calculate those hours here, right, for my labor. Now you see my second stage is running. I'm going to go back to the handheld, type in my order again, click s'mores, right? And I'm going to select the stage, or I don't need to select the stage. I can stop the job here after I've entered the item number in. And again, if I were to refresh my grid, I have my time associated with that stage ID, right? Let's continue that. There's 2 more that we need to do. So let's do those real quick. We'll enter our time. Obviously, in real time, this is going to take more time than a few minutes, but for demonstration purposes, we're now going to combine the ingredients together, start the job, and then We'll let this run. Let's talk about some of the other things that can happen. In production reconciliation, I can look at this order and see in my child graph here, all the resources being used. If I were to refresh this now, I can see that I've issued 100 of these. So we have a no loss or gain. We have 100% used in our process here. So we'll be recording all the information as we post in this grid here. So I could see a live view and I could see the percentage completed. What's really cool is if I were to take out the filter of the orders, I can see all my production orders and their status today. So I have some old production orders in here as well that have percentage complete. And I have a 50% complete one here, right? And I have some that are not even started and some that are completed already. And I can see the quantity of each that I've used within there. And I can actually change those hours within the product reconciliation if I'd like to. So if I hit report hours, I can report specific hours that we want to report manually from an administrator to that resource and that production order. So we have the ability to manually change as well. In real world instance, that's what we're going to get. Let's highlight this 315. And we've planned quantity 100. We've issued 100. We haven't completed it yet. So let's go through the rest of the process here on the handheld device. And we're actually going to log back into this order. And we are going to stop this job. So now we've done the combining ingredients. We've made our s'mores. Now the next task is to quality control it. So I'm going to log into my order again. I'm going to do stage ID 4 QC check. And I'm going to start the QC check here. And obviously, this is not going to take us long. In this case, I'm going to go back into the order and I am going to stop the job. Now I've completed all my route stages that are required for me to make s'mores. I'm going to bring up the order once again in my time tracker. And now I have the availability to report production. By clicking the report production, it will bring me another screen. And I will report the 100 or so that I want to do. Now I could underproduce. Maybe I had some loss. Maybe only 90 were made, right? So it's going to produce my finished good here with my serial lot batch builder, which is included with Wisys. So I've automated the creation of my new batch of my month, my year, and my production order. And I'm going to produce 100 pieces. And it will print out my labels for my finished good product. So I have taken you from the issuing of goods, prepping the table, issuing the goods, combining the ingredients, fire and burn, and then quality check. Let's go back to our production reconciliation, and we'll give this a refresh, right? And we're going to go back to document number 315. We're going to highlight that. And we have zero loss and gain here. So we've completed production. We've issued goods. We have issued everything that's necessary. We've issued our hours here. But let's go back to our production time tracking administration. Let's take a look at everything that's been done here. So I can go into each stage with my labor resources. And obviously you see my labor hours accumulated here. The time it took me to do each stage, the elapsed time, right? Everything based on this order. I can go here and simply post the information to SAP Business One, but I could also check the items that I want to update the end time or manually update the start time for each one. So I can go in there and manually do that. I do have the ability just to use my report production hours and manually report production. So not even using the handheld device to report production. I have the availability to go in there, work on that same production order, same resources that I have, and I could report actual hours here. So obviously in the real world, mistakes are made. You can go in and manually adjust that for accurate information. But obviously we would like to do that on the handheld for real-time data entry. In this case, I'd like to highlight this entire route stages for this production order, and I would like to post that. When hitting the post button, we've completed this production order. It no longer appears as an open production order in my production time tracking. We can then go into SAP Business One and refresh this production order. And obviously the issued hours and time associated are populated back into the ERP. And then if I look into my issued for production, all of those time frames are listed within here. So in this one, I've issued the marshmallows and received against production. There is no dollar amount associated with this, but it shows the time that's been issued for prepping. So the resources are consumed. They are recorded in SAP Business One, and I can close this production order out as completed. And I can run my production reporting in SAP as I normally did. I can still do the same reporting. It has now been automatically done in the ERP in real time. Okay, let's go back to our Agility Explorer here and look at my production orders. And if you notice, if I refresh this, that production order 315 no longer appears on my screen. It's no longer released. It is a completed production order that is now completed. The production time tracking is gone. And I believe if we refresh this, the reconciliation has been completed here. So as a follow-up or as a recap, we have taken all the items from a production order and the route stages. We have used our handheld device or tablet to clock in and clock out of each job, of each stage. We've issued the goods for production. We've received the goods from production receipt. We've completed production and posted that information to SAP Business One. This is going to expand our capabilities of Wisys in SAP, giving our partners and customers the ability to track labor within Wisys. So I know it was a quick overview. We wanted to do this in 30 minutes to give you some time for questions. Let's take a look at some of those questions now, if we have them. Actually, before we take a look at those questions, I want to make sure we understand what labor reporting delivers. As you can see, we wanted to have real-time visibility, no double entry. We want accurate job costing, right? So actually what's happening on the shop floor is what's happening. Then we're able to plan our manufacturing process and get real visibility into that. Obviously, we want full traceability from employees to resources, and batch track traceability as well completes that, who touched what, who ran with what. We have that. And obviously, less manual input. What I didn't mention during that process is that our design tools that you use today that are so popular can be utilized within this as well. So any of the forms that you see on the handheld can be used with our design tool set, our Form Studio, to be modified to each customer's needs. Last but not least, there is no additional cost to this product. This is included with Essentials, Enterprise, and Enterprise with shipping to be included in 571.4. So we can have questions now. If anybody has questions, we can have one-on-ones where we go through this more methodically to your process and workflow or your customers' workflows. We can see where labor reporting fits with you guys. So Brendan, I'll open this up to the floor now. Any questions that we have, I'd be happy to take them.
Yeah, 1 second. I'll get you to. So this is not available in the Macola environment. I wanted to clarify that.
This isn't, this is SAP.
let's-
So
right.
let me talk a little bit about that, Brennan. Macola has shop floor and pop
Right.
production capabilities. This has been something that's been long awaited for SAP Business One.
Yeah. Okay. So, and then Zach asked, can production order be closed by Wisys desktop rather doing it in SAP? For example, all quantity are
Yes.
reported completion, then auto close the production orders without manually closing it.
Yes, and this is some of the things we're looking for. This will be available. This is being added to the system where I can close a release production order from the Agility desktop. It is not in there today, but it will be in there when you next update. It will be in there. Yes. I've asked that for that feature to be released as well. So not only posting the labor information, but also posting the finished production order. Today in Wisys, you have to do it in SAP Business One. Someone needs to review that. But yes, I'd like that to be closed there and will be.
That's the only question we had so far.
Okay. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. It's something that we've been missing. Why we wanted this is many of our customers have asked for it, right? They are issuing goods. Why can't we record labor in time? Obviously our analytical reporting Agility Explorer desktop can be modified as well to views that you want to see. There are a few things. Do we have detailed instructions on reporting? There's no detailed instructions. There are in our, it is documented within our online knowledge base, which you would need to be a customer or partner to sign up and see that. That is available in there as well. That's a good question.
Bill had asked, he said this could be added to an existing contract at no cost. That's correct. You said it's coming out in which release?
It is in 571.4 and it is released already. And it is available to any of your existing customers to try, to test in their test environment. You do not need to buy anything more with Wisys. This is added value that we give to our customers because they pay maintenance and support, and we are always improving our product to give value to our customers, whether it's Macola or SAP Business One. Okay. Well, I tried to keep this 30 minutes to give you back some of your free time. I know we scheduled an hour, give you some time. Any more questions, please feel free to email me, call me. Yes, Marvin, this will be available. It is available now. This is a release of Wisys that's available, and you will be able to get access to this. And Bill, I will send you the recording. You will get a follow-up email with the recording link to be able to review this again. And again, we can go over this individually. I know we went through it in 30 minutes. There's more detail that may need to be shown, but we'd be happy to do that. Questions keep coming in. It's good stuff. Yes, existing Android devices. So one of the questions I have is, do they have to use a handheld device? Well, most of my customers that do reporting of issuing goods, they may use a tablet right at that work center or that station. They can log into that, and each employee, I just used one employee today. You could be multiple employees that start a job, that work on a job. One of the things that I failed to mention that is important is that, I can change a setting to work on multiple stages at once. Right now, I required us to complete a stage before another stage could be completed. These are settings or administrative rules that we can change on our end. Right. Well, I appreciate you all joining today. Again, if you have more questions, one-on-one, you don't want to ask them in this forum, I'm happy to answer them. Please email me, call me, set up a meeting. Be happy to do that. Thanks, Brennan, for mediating and answering those questions. And thank you guys. Appreciate you. Thank you. Have a great day.